What is up, everybody? About to make lunch, and this is exactly what you need to do in order to track your macros. So you use MyFitnessPal, and you also use your food scale right here. And I'll go over some examples so you will understand how to weigh your food. So the first example I'm going to go over is vegetables, right? It has the serving size and everything on the nutrition facts in the back of the packaging usually. And you can see here that the serving size is 3/4 of a cup, 84 grams. Always, always rely on your food scale, not the cup measurements, right? Do not rely on this thing. Do not rely. No. This is bad. This is what you want, because at the end of the day, weight is different because of how you cook the food. So, and also, this is a lot of room for error, and this is the most accurate, as in the food scale. So in order to track this bag of vegetables, you can see in the back of the label, right over here, yep, as soon as it focuses, 3/4 of a cup, 84 grams, and the total servings per container, this is the container, the whole bag, is 4. You can see that right over there? 4 servings, right? So this whole bag is actually what this label says times 4, because this only lists the serving size, which is 84 grams. So to make things a lot simpler, what you need to do, if you are going to eat the whole bag, if you're not, then you have to weigh the bag, or weigh the amount of vegetables that you eat. But if you were to eat the whole bag like I am about to do, then I just multiply this by 4. And the easiest way to do this is just to scan it. Bam, there's a barcode, and MyFitnessPal has a scanner. Scan it, and then go over to serving size and put 4. And that's about it. And you should obviously check the math on the nutrition facts, what it says on the container, and also what it says on MyFitnessPal. Because more than usually, I would say like maybe 10% of the time, MyFitnessPal does not have accurate information. So I always double check, and I highly recommend you to double check as well, because it would allow you to eat some more food when you are starving. So I highly recommend you to check the data. I'm going to go over a second example. In this example, I'm going to use the example of this power cakes, this Kodak cakes, right? This is pancake powder, essentially pancake mix, and you can see here it is powder. So how would you track this when you eat? So it is rather difficult to track stuff like pancakes and waffles, because you're mixing it, and usually if you just don't mix it with water, you have to add a couple of ingredients. But in this case, I have the nutrition facts of the powder, and I will take the nutrition facts of the milk, which I have right over here, right? Bam, the milk. And then also, that's like really the only 2 ingredients that I want to use right now. But if you were going to use like eggs, sugar, whatever, measure it all out using the food scale. And then you track every single ingredient. And yes, this is very, you might be thinking to yourself, this is very, very meticulous and very, very cumbersome and a lot of work. So what I recommend is don't eat the freaking pancakes, like homemade pancakes, if you don't want to weigh your stuff. Like this is part of the job. This is part of the program where you have to track every single thing, because every single thing has calories at this point. So to go back to an example, it says half a cup, which is 53 grams. As I said before, do not trust the cup measurements. This thing, do not trust this. Use the frickin' food scale, man. Use this crap. Always. So I'm going to use this as an example, and I'll show you exactly. It's saying like half a cup is 53 grams, right? So I'm going to show you how inaccurate this is right now. Bam. This is how you do it. Turn on the scale while the container's on top, because if you don't put the container on, it would be 0, but right now it is accounting. Oh, you can't really see it right here. It is accounting the container which is, it goes into negative once you take it off. So, bam, zeroed out. You can see right here. Pretty simple. 0. Okay, so I'm gonna weigh myself 1 serving, which is 53 grams, using this. Oh shit, this is 58. Even then, so I over-poured right now. I over-poured on the pancake mix, but it still brings up the point. So 58 grams, right? And 1 serving size, as you can see here, the bam, it's half a cup, 53 grams. But if you see here, I'm like legitimately trying to match it to whatever, or make it as level as possible. It's not even half a freaking cup. You can see how inaccurate it is. So, like I said before, this is exactly why you use the freaking food scale. Get the point? All right, I'm gonna make these pancakes. So right now, still making the pancakes. Got actually 2 servings of the power cake powder. So bowl right here, empty bowl. I know this is 2 servings. Just remember that to track it on your MyFitnessPal. And then for the milk, all right, the liquids, this is how you track it. So this is just an estimate, and this is, I have not really proven it, but it has worked out so far so good. I have my food scale that tells me that grams is essentially 1 milligram, like 1 gram equals 1 milligram. So I'm trusting that my my food scale is correct, and I've been doing this for the past like 6 months, right, of just relying on the food scale telling me how many milligrams it is. And usually it comes out pretty well in terms of any measuring cups to like compare the thing. So I rather trust the food scale instead of my eyes with the volume cup, if you know what I'm saying, right? So I'm gonna use, according to instructions, one cup of, it's equal parts. So 1 cup of whatever, 1 cup of powder equals that you should use 1 cup of water to make the pancakes. So what I'm gonna do, since I have 106 grams of 106 grams of powder, I'm gonna pour 106 grams of milk. So here we go. I'm pouring it. Have it even dough. So if your food scale cannot measure in milliliters, then just use grams, because it's essentially the same thing. So I'll pour 106. Which is that's about 106. So this is 114, but you can see here, trying to show you proof right now, 114, right? But if I go to grams, it's about the same. 113, 114, whatever, right? So use grams if your food scale does not tell you milliliters. So it's practically the same thing. And I'm gonna make this pancake, and then I'll show you what I put on top of the pancake, because I have to track that as well, especially if it has calories. About to freaking cook my pancakes, so I'm using some oil, and highly recommend this. You have to track your freaking oils because it has calories, but my recommendation is use like non-stick cooking spray oil. For me, I use this brand right over here. And the reason why I use this brand is because it has non-propellants, and also the ingredients is legitimately just coconut oil. And yeah, you don't have to use coconut oil, but what I use this brand for is because it has non-propellants and the ingredients just coconut oil. A lot of cooking sprays, like this one right here, the non-name brand, this canola oil, it has the soy lectin in it, in the ingredients. It lists in the ingredients. It's actually bad for the pan, and when you use non-stick pans, you're supposed to just use like just oil. The soy lectin screws up the non-stick surfaces, and that's just a quick tip. It's not fitness related, but if you want to save yourself like some money by not going through non-stick pans like every other month, then stick with non-propellant and just simple ingredients like just coconut oil, which it says just right over here. So that's why I'm using it. And also, even though this says 0 calories right here, what I love about this brand is that on their label, it says that 2 seconds of spraying this actually adds 3 grams of fat. So that means usually when you spray this for more than 2 seconds, you're adding calories. So add that to your MyFitnessPal. And you could guesstimate this because you can't exactly like weigh it per se, but you can, but it's just not going to help because you just have to, it's not as simple as the other foods that have calories, because this label says there's no calories. So when you scan the barcode, it will not register that there are calories and there are fats, and so when you add it, it won't add anything to your diary. So what I suggest is just search on MyFitnessPal fat grams, and bam, it will show you that there was like 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories, and then you just add 3 grams of fat onto your meal. Made my pancakes right over here, and so I want some syrup or some kind of topping with it. So right now I recommend not using any like calorie syrups or like sauces or anything, because it destroys your calories without fully satiating you, right? It might taste a lot better, but as it says, there's a pro and con with it. There's higher calories. So I recommend using like sugar-free stuff, and you can see here it has a freaking nutrition facts. Oh wow. So guess what? Like I said about the milk, use food scale, set it on top, ba-bam, right? And then turn it on, and then go pour whatever amounts you want on the pancakes, and then set it back to the food scale, and it will go into negative. Like this thing will go into negative, and that's how much syrup you used. All right, does that make any sense? I hope it does, because it's not that hard to understand. Like, you set it out there, starts at 0, pour it, because amount of syrup went onto the plate, therefore it is not in this container, therefore it will show negative. And then you will track the negative number. You don't put negative something on your food diary, you put the number, whatever this shows right there, onto your food diary. So I would highly recommend that. So and I talked about the examples of using like sugar-free stuff, because if you use something like this, chocolate syrup, this is not sugar-free, by the way, it will show you this right here. Like, oh my goodness, focus. Bam. 90 calories for 34 grams, and that means there's 22 carbs. So you just destroyed 22 carbs just by drizzling 34 grams of chocolate syrup, and that's not a lot. And another example that I want to talk about is using homemade syrups or homemade whatever. You could search up and try to like guesstimate. So for example, I have this tomato jam, this homemade, no labels. I have no idea what is used in here and how many calories per milliliter or per gram. So what I would do is just go up on MyFitnessPal, search up tomato jam, and find something similar. I know for a fact that this has carbs in it, and there's definitely no protein, because I mean, what contains protein in jam? Usually not. And so I'll search up, I'll put it, same thing, same procedure of putting it on the food scale, putting it on top of my plate, and then tracking it, saying like, oh, this is a guesstimate. I'm using tomato jam, and therefore it's mainly carbs. So I search up like chocolate syrup, or not chocolate syrup, a jam on the MyFitnessPal, and bam, I'm guesstimating that this is how many calories I just put on my pancakes from using a homemade tomato jam. It's not the most accurate, but it still gets you to a guesstimate when you want to use something homemade and you do not exactly know how it is made. If you know exactly how it's made, then you have to track every single calorie. You could actually create a food in MyFitnessPal, and you could do that, but that's a little bit too complex. I just highly recommend you to stick with store-bought stuff. And if it's too complex, then don't freaking do it, because this is exactly why you signed up. It takes discipline to go and use stuff that has labels already pre-made. So this is a sacrifice that you have to give up, but to me, it's not that big of a deal. So, bam, use this if you like, and guesstimate by tracking jams on your MyFitnessPal and searching jam on MyFitnessPal, or just use something that's already store-bought, pre-made, and you know exactly what's on the nutrition facts. So I'll show you right now that I decided to use the tomato jam, and it is all over my plate with the pancakes. And I'm going to show you on MyFitnessPal how I exactly tracked it, so you exactly know what I'm talking about in terms of this kind of stuff. So, bam, you see that? You see the powder is tracked, the milk is tracked, and then the jam. Like I said, there's a reference. The total amount of jam that I used was 34 grams, so I decided to pick this one. And how you choose which one to pick just depends on your judgment. Like, it is very simple to do. In this case, I trusted there's sometimes this is very useful, but actually it's not really worth mentioning. That check mark, that green check mark on MyFitnessPal, usually means it's like verified, good information. A lot of foods that have this check mark are pretty good information, but you have to be worried. If you're super meticulous like myself, I search it up on Google and compare the exact differences. And in this case, I'm just trusting MyFitnessPal that they're telling me the good information, and it makes sense because I use 45 grams of jam, and that equates to 125 calories, which is 31 carbs. So going against my recommendation of using sugar-free stuff, but I'm not exactly cutting to be super shredded. But if you want food, extra food, using the calories that you would have used on sauces and jams and stuff, then highly recommend sugar-free. Oh yeah, almost forgot to add the cooking spray oil. Remember, that has calories, even though it says 0 calories on the nutrition label, because it's spraying out oil. It just spreads out the oil as how they could put 0 calories on their nutrition label. So, bam, I added it right over here. 3 grams, bam, of fat. And you just search fats on MyFitnessPal, and you should be good to go. So I'll even show you. Bam, see? I searched fats and by grams. You can see that. And there's these things. And 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. And I know that because I've searched it up on Google. And there you go. You track how many grams of fat you think. And according to the label on the coconut oil spray, 2 seconds equals 3 grams of fat, so I sprayed about 2 seconds, so I added 3 grams of fat. I'm about to show you how I weigh my chicken. So I highly recommend you to weigh all your meats, your proteins, cooked, because it's the easiest way to do it, especially when you cook it in bulk. So I'm going to show you exactly why. So I cook this in bulk, right? This is 5 chicken breasts that are cooked in bulk. So how would I choose what to eat and how much to eat? For me, I know that I can eat a whole breast. I am super hungry right now, so I'm gonna actually get the biggest breast out of all of them, and I have all my protein macros left throughout my day. So I am not afraid to go over, and that's just using common sense. So what I'm going to do, really, before I even touch the chicken breast, as I was so eager to do so, I have my plate, food scale. Put the plate on the food scale before I turn it on, because that just eliminates the process of pressing tier. Press on the power button, zeroed out. And then I'll grab a breast right over here, ba-bam, place it on my plate, And I'm gonna eat this whole thing. So place the plate with the chicken back on the food scale, and it reads 262 grams. So I then go on to MyFitnessPal. So I went on to MyFitnessPal right over here, and I searched cooked chicken breast, and you can see that right over here, right? And there's so many options, because chicken breast, it's probably the most used protein source for healthy eating and just counting macros and whatever diet it is. Chicken breast is like a staple for a lot of diets. So there's so many options, and what I have found just through experience is that all this can be wrong. Like, it is wrong. So what I am doing right now is just to double check on what entry is correct. I go onto Google. So I'm going onto Google right now. Bam. And I search chicken breast cooked nutrition facts. Bam, right over here. You see this? Search it up, chicken breast cooked nutrition facts. And it pops up. Holy moly. You could do this with any food. Some you have to dig a little bit deeper and click on a couple of links. But in this case, since chicken breast is so popular, it pops up 165 grams for 31 grams of protein, 3.6 grams of total fat. But I need to know how many grams that is. Right over here. And this is based on a portion size of 3.5 ounces, which is 100 grams. If you search up 100 grams to ounces, yep, it's around 100 grams. So 100 grams of chicken breast equals to about 165 calories with 31 grams of protein, 3.6 grams of fat, and no carbs. So I go back to MyFitnessPal with all the entries and stuff, bam, and I search through what kind of chicken breast. And holy moly, this is the second entry, right? Because I noticed, I'm going pretty deep right here. Oh shit. That this entry, 165 grams right there. So I'm gonna click it because I know from searching up Google, chicken breast for 100 grams equals to 165 calories. And it's exactly what I just read off to you, right over here. Even though the label says it is steamed and cooked, it's exactly what it is on what is showed on Google. So it matches. So this is a very good data point to have on your diary. I got my chicken breast entry right over here, check marked, and 57 grams of cooked chicken breast is around 424 calories. Not as a lot of people expect how much calories it is, but this is a good source of protein. So highly recommend you to use that when you are questioning the data points of MyFitnessPal. And you have to be this meticulous, because otherwise, me as a coach, I cannot help you count your macros. Like, I can't sit there and weigh your food for you. You got to learn how to do this. It will take a couple of weeks. Be patient with yourself. And it might seem very, very like task heavy, but this is what you need to do. And eventually you will have enough, because if you notice that when you add food to your meals, there are recent meals that you could just like check mark it. And if you eat the same thing every single day, or relatively same thing every single week, you already have the data points. So once you do the work, you don't have to do it again, really. So that's exactly how you should track your macros, and I hope you guys understand every single thing. If you have any questions, always just message me and I'll get back to you.